Excellent. Thank you. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We are thrilled to have you here. We're really excited about this application process and the placemaking grants. And as you'll hear, this is really a testament to all of you, the hard work that you've been doing, your commitment to the conference that the Land Bank and Arts Now have been putting on over the past few years. And we're just really excited to honor that investment that you've made in your communities in this way. So we're going to go ahead and get started. The presentation is going to be recorded. We're going to get to the end of the presentation and wrap up with some Q&As. And at that time, the recording is going to stop, but we'll make sure that we post all of the questions and answers on the website. So if you weren't able to be here today in person or virtually, you're able to get the same information, but it'll make everybody a little bit more comfortable. So welcome to the conversation. I am Nicole Mullet. I serve as Executive Director of Arts Now, and I am thrilled to introduce my friend and colleague, Mr. Patrick Bravo from the Summit County Land Bank. And Patrick, I will turn it over to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're excited you could carve out a piece of your afternoon to share in the webinar today. Obviously, we are talking about a new grant opportunity that's a joint partnership between Arts Now and Summit County Land Bank. So many thanks to Nicole Mullet and Grace, their team, for bringing us into this. On the heels of our successful third annual Creative Placemaking Conference, as most of you know from the release, Arts Now was awarded a grant from the NEA, and we are matching that to add to the pot so that we can support as many projects as possible. So we're excited for our heading into our fourth year. 2025 makes for the Creative Placemaking Conference, and hope to build on some ongoing efforts there to keep working to empower artists here in our local communities. So just a little bit about the grant. It is funded, as I mentioned, by the National Endowment for the Arts. It is a $40,000 grant, and the Summit County Land Bank has committed an additional $40,000 toward that, for a total of $80,000 to support placemaking projects and initiatives throughout Summit County.
Thanks, Patrick. The application process. So for those of you who have applied for grants with Arts Now before, we have a new grant platform that we think you're going to be really excited about, called Foundant. The applications are available on our website at artsnow.org. That it is an online written application format. If that creates issue for you, contact us at grants@artsnow.org, and we'll be happy to work with you if there's some language barriers or we need to have other conversations. But the grant is ideally going to take place online, as it has in the past, only with a new platform. The application review, much like those of you who remember the Arts Forward process, is going to be made up of a group of nonprofit administrators, folks who have experience in the arts and placemaking, and those who have also gone through the process of grant funding before. And all of the applications are scored based on the review criteria that's available to you on the website at artsnow.org/grants. And Grace, maybe you could drop that in the chat, since I am only going to touch the things I know how to work on this PowerPoint presentation and nothing more.
It is in the chat.
Excellent. Thank you. She's already ahead of me.
Awesome. So some key dates and timelines are up on your screen now. The application portal opened on February 1st. Obviously, we're having our webinar today. Because there is a tight timeline with NEA, we are also adhering to a tight timeline. So we're asking that all projects be submitted by March 1st at 11:59 p.m. And we will immediately we'll begin the review process that Nicole talked about immediately after that. We will hope to get award notifications out in early April of 2025. And all of the projects must be completed and all of the funds must be spent by December 31st, 2025. And we also have a final report deadline around then. So there's a good chance that we'll update this as we keep moving to make sure that we have all of the information that we need from you in a timely manner so that we can get that back to NEA. And Nicole's going to talk a little bit about what we will need from you in terms of those final report requirements.
Thanks, Patrick. Are we on the correct screen? Am I sharing final report requirements? Excellent. So this is, again, a requirement of the NEA, and we're really excited to have them so invested in Summit County and Northeast Ohio. And so we're sort of held responsible for certain requirements that we're passing along to you. The number of people who were compensated during the project, including artists. Participation numbers, we're going to ask you how many young people, how many adults, in person or virtual participated, any photos or videos of the project, and then any testimonials from your participants. If you need help thinking through how to collect this information, if you're sort of new to the space of thinking about how we're engaging in public space, that's something we're very happy to help you think through as you're submitting your report.
So here's what here's what we're looking for. So the funding amounts for these grants are between $1,000 and $10,000. So we do have right now a $10,000 cap on any grant awards. They are to support nonprofit organizations and will help to move projects and initiatives forward that help to strengthen neighborhoods and communities here in Summit County. So all projects must take place in Summit County. For this round of grants, there are no match requirements for grantees, but funds may be used as a partial funding source, so they do not have to cover the entirety of the or of the project, and they may be combined with other funds in order to complete a project. And as all of you well know, that can also be helpful as funds are limited and projects become competitive. So that, we will be looking to see if there are other sources of funds. Nicole, I think it's up to you now to talk about what's eligible.
Eligible projects. So we've seen over the past few years the really incredible ideas that you've brought forward at the Placemaking Conference. So we're really excited to see what you come up with for these grants. Some ideas so that you know what options are. This could be festivals, performances, or workshops, things that are activating underutilized spaces in Summit County. It could be art, movement, literature, or music therapy in these spaces. Writing or visual arts activities, temporary experiences or efforts that activate underutilized public spaces. So we're really looking at how we can look at communities, get folks out into public spaces that are safe, that are exciting, that are bringing people together across the county.
And so the eligible expenses then, as you can see, will include both hard and soft costs. So artist fees, production costs, but also hard costs like art materials and supplies, and any marketing collateral or anything like that. So, the grant is pretty flexible and generous on that end. So hard and soft costs, but I think what we're really looking for are project submissions that help fulfill those goals that we talked about just a moment ago.
The application is available on the website. So even if you're uncertain about whether or not you want to apply and you want to look through all of the questions, you can log on and do that really easily and get a PDF of all the questions we're going to ask. But they are going to include a project description, artist information and documentation. So if you're engaging an artist in a public space activity, we're going to ask you to share past work that they might have done, budget and use of funds, both income and expenses. And then this one I want to be clear on is a letter of support that's required for projects on public land. So if you say you're going to, I saw Drew was on here. So I think Drew would appreciate it if you were planning on doing something in downtown Stowe, and you were going to activate something outside of the municipal building, that you actually got permission from the city in order to do that. So we're requesting you to make sure that you're checking that box so that we don't award funds when a project isn't going to actually be able to take place. Funding requirements. This one is unlike Arts Forward. So those of you who are familiar with Arts Forward, grants cannot be made to a fiscal sponsor. So you do need to have a 501c3 organization that is going to apply for the grant. They must take place in ADA compliant facilities. So this all needs to be completely accessible to people of all abilities. If the activities are outdoor, they must be accessible via ADA pathways. So your partners who are going to be working in those spaces can be really helpful. I also saw Drew and Lynette from Summit DD on the call. You have wonderful partners in Summit County who can help you navigate accessibility and making sure that that everyone is going to be able to participate in the experiences. Ineligible projects, you can see by the slightly aggressive little red indicators there. Permanent installations. The placemaking grants this round cannot be used for projects that are going to be lasting more than 30 days. We can attach things to historic buildings, disturbing the ground deeper than 12 inches. Applications submitted through a fiscal sponsor. Again, we need an actual 501c3 to be the group who is submitting the application, and then more than one application per applicant. We've had a great response to this so far. We're asking you to submit your very best idea instead of submitting 12 ideas for this one. We know that you have 12 ideas and we know they are all great, but only submit one. The review criteria. This is also available if you look on the website. There's an overview document that you can download, but public benefit is 50% of the review. We want to make sure that the community is engaged, that it's accessible, that it's impactful, and that it's having an impact on physical public space. Artistic experience is 30%. We want meaningful arts engagement and artistic excellence. And then feasibility is going to be 20%. We're asking you for a clear plan, timeline, and budget. And we'll ask you for those evaluation metrics. So at this time, I am going to go ahead and stop the recording. Or someone who actually can do that could stop the recording because I can't see it where I am. Thank you, Grace.